music was truly my savior. It was, I would say, perfect timing at certain things that were going on, and it could have gone to a certain level. Thank God that it didn't. I statistically definitely would not be here, especially in Miami being the cocaine capital.
Yeah.
It really is what it is. That's what started Miami's economy.
What if the man who became Mr. Worldwide was once a kid in foster care, separated from his cocaine-dealing parents?
But I actually lived in a foster home in Georgia when I was about, I want to say, like 8 years old.
Reciting revolutionary poetry before he could even tie his shoes. What if his path to becoming one of the most recognizable names in music began with a single penny and a lesson about survival that would haunt him forever? This is the story of Armando Christian Perez, the man you know as Pitbull. And before we're done, you'll discover 2 shocking secrets about him that even his closest collaborators didn't see coming. The first will make you question everything you thought you knew about his public persona. The second, it involves a lawsuit, a Hollywood star, and a lyric that nearly cost him millions. Born on January 15th, 1981, in Miami, Florida, to Cuban expatriate parents, Armando Christian Perez entered a world already soaked in chaos.
And then it was my mother that one day I was watching the movie with her, and she lived it with my father.
They dealt cocaine.
They dibbled and dabbled in a lot of extracurricular activities. I'd call them entrepreneurs before their time.
By the age of 3, this kid could recite the works of José Martí, Cuba's national hero and poet, in perfect Spanish. Not nursery rhymes, not Dr. Seuss. Revolutionary poetry about freedom, honor, and dying for what you believe in. His grandmother had fought alongside Fidel Castro in the Cuban Revolution, one of the first 4 women in the mountains. His aunt became a political prisoner. His mother fled Cuba through Operation Peter Pan at just 10 years old, not seeing her family again for 7 years. During the chaos of the Mariel boat lift, his father wasn't just a witness, he was part of the story in a way few people realize.
My father brought over 3 boats during the Mariel boat lift, 548 people from Cuba to the United States.
This wasn't just family history. This was survival embedded into DNA. But here's what nobody tells you about revolutionary bloodlines. They don't guarantee stability. They guarantee fire. When Armando's parents separated, his mother took him and did what she had to do. She worked every job imaginable, selling water door to door, selling cable, selling Avon. Little Armando was right there beside her, knocking on doors, watching her hustle, learning that nothing in this world comes free.
My mother was my superhero, and she taught me how to hustle, taught me how to appreciate, how to grind. When I would be out there hustling with her, I started in a flea market with her when I was about 5 years old, selling t-shirts on 37th Ave and Northwest 7th Street at the flea market there. And then we would sell water before it was bottled. It comes in a filter, so filtered water. Right. You know, like you said, Avon, I sold cable with her. So she taught me how to pitch.
They moved constantly, 25 different schools, good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, worse neighborhoods. And then came the foster home. At 8 years old, Armando found himself in Roswell, Georgia, living with a family he didn't know, speaking a language he was still learning, separated from everything familiar.
I lived with them, I want to say probably like 8 months, 9 months, around there.
The family was kind. They fed him, took care of him, loved him even.
Lost Spanish. No, it was a great family, to be honest with you. They really did. They showed me a lot of love and they took care of me. They wanted to adopt me. When my mom heard that shit, she was like, "Oh, I'm coming to see you after my shift is over." It was the last time you see them. Last time I saw them, by the way. But to that family, thank you so much. I appreciate you. One way or another, somehow, some way, we're going to get connected. But they were great to me. And I did lose Spanish while I was in Georgia.
He lost his Spanish while he was there, came back to Miami having to relearn his first language. But here's the thing about being forced to adapt that young. You either break or you become unbreakable. Armando chose the latter. Growing up in Miami during the 1980s meant growing up in the cocaine capital of America. Miami Vice wasn't just a TV show, it was a documentary. Armando's father wasn't just an entrepreneur in the traditional sense, he and his mother dealt cocaine. They were, as Armando would later describe them, entrepreneurs before their time. Different product, different startup companies, different angel investors. His mother would eventually eventually tell him something that changed his perspective forever. They were watching Scarface together, and young Armando was idolizing Tony Montana like every other kid in Miami.
She said, forget about Scarface, meaning Tony. You want to be Sosa. So in the movie, she always said that that's old money, sophisticated money, figured out on how to grow.
The guy who figured out how to grow Tony without getting his hands dirty. The lessons stuck.
You idolized Scarface, and then you had the epiphany. This is not who I should be idolizing.
Well, absolutely.
By 16, Armando was running in Miami's streets. He lived in South Miami Heights, in buildings called the Shortstop, right next to the square, sandwiched between two dope holes. One side was Chocolate City and the Village. When one spot ran out, everyone ran through his building to get to the other side. He saw everything, learned everything, sold everything. One night, he sold what he thought was cocaine to a woman. She came back hours later, covered in blood, screaming that he'd almost killed her. That was the moment. 17 years old, staring at a woman bleeding because of something he'd given her, and realizing this path only ended one way: prison or death. No third option. But music. Music was the third option.
Music was truly my savior. I would say perfect timing at certain things that were going on, and it could have gone to a certain level. Thank God that it didn't.
The name Pitbull came from a Dominican friend named Junior. They were headed to a Pitbull fight, and Junior looked at him and said, "Chico, that's your name, Pitbull." Armando was 16, looking for a rap name, and it hit different. Pitbulls bite and lock. They fight to the death. They're outlawed in Dade County. They're stereotyped, misunderstood, and dangerous when provoked. They're everything Armando already was, everything Miami had made him. The name stuck. By 1999, Pitbull was grinding. Mixtapes, freestyles, battles. He went to Miami Coral Park High School, graduated, and immediately started knocking on every door in the Miami music scene. Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew became a mentor, teaching him the independent hustle, showing him how to move product without a major label, how to build your own empire when nobody believes in you. Luke signed him to Luke Records in 2001 through Jillian Booth, the label's VP of A&R. But that deal didn't last. What did last was the introduction to Robert Fernandez of Famous Artist Music and Management. Fernandez saw the hunger, the fight, the refusal to lose. Together, they reworked Pitbull's sound, made it more radio-friendly, shortened the verses, made the hooks catchier, less rap, more melody. Then Fernandez introduced him to Lil Jon.
Lil Jon, when we first met, I couldn't understand Lil Jon, he couldn't understand me. And he said, "Look, I don't know what you're saying, Shouter, but you snapping." And I was like, "I don't know what you're saying." Either or. He said, "Come by the studio tomorrow." And this was at Audio Vision, one time for Disco Rick that always showed love out there. And I thought he was bullshitting. So I showed up to the studio early, and I'm there, and he played the Cuban Ride Out, and he's like, "What you think about this beat?" I said, "No, it's jamming." He said, "All right, do something to it." So sure enough, wrote something right quick, and I knock out a verse. Yeah. That's all it is. And little shout outs here and there to all of Miami.
The meeting that changed everything happened at a video shoot in Miami, Salvation Nightclub. 1998, DMX was shooting a video. Capone Noriega was there. One of Pitbull's friends started instigating, and before anyone knew what was happening, 16-year-old Pitbull was battling Dragon from Rough Riders. Swizz Beatz was standing right there watching. He told Pitbull he'd give him 3 rounds, then Dragon would burn him. But something happened. Dragon recycled a flow, started using a cadence that Pitbull recognized from a song that hadn't even dropped yet. Home court advantage kicked in. Pitbull flipped English, Spanish, slang, everything he had, and the crowd went wild. Irv Gotti walked up afterward and asked if Pitbull wrote music or just freestyled. When Pitbull said he only freestyled, Irv told him something that became gospel. Freestyle and is cool, but don't make no money. That advice changed everything. Lil Jon heard about the battle, heard about this Cuban kid from Miami who could spit, who could switch languages mid-verse, who had the hunger. Jon gave him a track on Kings of Crunk in 2002. The song was called Pitbull's Cuban Rideout.
Little John's from Squad, but this little Cubans from the county a day.
And it put him on the map. In 2004, Pitbull released his debut album, Miami, under TVT Records. The lead single, Culo, produced by Lil Jon and the Diaz brothers,
peaked at number 32 on the Billboard Hot 100. Other singles followed: Damn It Man, Back Up, Thoma, That's Nasty. He joined the Anchor Management Tour with Eminem and 50 Cent. He appeared on the Yin Yang Twins' Shake.
I'm crossing these moments like tic-tac-toe. Let's ride, let's go.
He was everywhere. But TVT Records became a nightmare. The label was run by Steve Gottlieb, a Harvard-educated lawyer who, according to Pitbull, was the Castro of the music industry, a genius for all the wrong reasons. TVT controlled everything. Artists who signed to TVT rarely escaped. Mike Geronimo, Ja Rule before his Def Jam move, everyone got trapped. But Pitbull saw an opening. When Steve Gottlieb sued Def Jam over Ja Rule and Irv Gotti became entangled in the lawsuit, Pitbull used the chaos to file his own lawsuit. He put up everything he had, pulled money from property investments, told his girlfriend at the time that they'd either win or end up homeless under I-95. They won. Pitbull walked away from TVT Records in a settlement that freed him and Lil Jon. He was independent again, free to build his empire on his own terms. In 2006, he released El Mariel. In 2007, The Boat Lift. But it was 2009's Revolution that changed the trajectory. The single, I Know You Want Me, Calle Ocho, peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Suddenly, Pitbull wasn't just a Miami rapper. He was a global phenomenon. He'd done something nobody else was doing. He rapped on EDM tracks. He worked with DJs like Bob Sinclair, Afrojack, David Guetta. While everyone else was focused on traditional hip-hop lanes, Pitbull saw an entire world that nobody was paying attention to. Electronic dance music was exploding in Europe, and American artists were ignoring it. Pitbull didn't ignore it. He dominated it. I Know You Want Me became a worldwide smash.
You know I want you. I know you want me. You know I want you.
It played in clubs from Miami to Tokyo. Pitbull became Mr. Worldwide not because of a marketing gimmick, but because he literally went worldwide. In 2011, everything exploded. Jennifer Lopez released On the Floor featuring Pitbull.
7 Trey Donkey Donk. All I need is some vodka, some Shonky Conk, and watch it go get Donkey Kong.
The single debuted at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, the highest debut of Lopez's career. Then came Planet Pit, Pitbull's 6th studio album. The single Give Me Everything, featuring Neo, Afrojack, and Nair, became Pitbull's first number 1 single on the Billboard Hot 100.
Grab somebody sexy.
Let's go!
The lyric everyone remembers, I got it locked up like Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay didn't find it funny. In August 2011, Lohan sued Pitbull, Neo, and Afrojack, claiming the lyric defamed her and that she should have been compensated for the use of her name. The case was dismissed. A federal judge ruled that the lyric was protected by the First Amendment. Free speech, creative expression. Pitbull won. But the drama didn't stop there. In 2013, Pitbull released Timber, featuring Kesha.
Thicker than an oil spill. She say she won't, but I bet she will. Timber.
The song topped charts in 20 countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom. It became one of the biggest songs of the year, an undeniable earworm that played everywhere. Then in August 2024, fans noticed something strange. Kesha's name was removed from the YouTube title of the Timber music video. No explanation, no announcement, just gone.
Fans erupted. Social media exploded. Speculation ran wild that it was related to Kesha's ongoing legal battle with producer Dr. Luke. Pitbull released a statement saying his team was looking into it and that he had nothing but love for Kesha. But the damage was done. The controversy reignited debates about Pitbull's image, his treatment of female collaborators, and whether his Mr. Worldwide persona was just a carefully crafted brand hiding something darker. Because here's the thing about Pitbull that people don't talk about enough. His public image has always walked a razor-thin line. The hyper-masculine playboy, the man in the suit surrounded by women in bikinis, the lyrics that objectify, that celebrate excess, that lean into every stereotype about machismo and Latin lovers. Critics have called him sexist, pointed to his music videos as evidence of a problematic brand, but people who know him personally, who've worked with him, tell a different story. They say he respects women, that the persona is performance, not reality. So which is it? In 2016, Pitbull faced another controversy. He signed a $1 million marketing contract with Visit Florida, the state's tourism agency. The deal was criticized as a waste of taxpayer money. The head of Visit Florida resigned. Pitbull defended the partnership, saying he was proud to represent his home state, but the optics were bad. Then there was the Gente de Zona situation. Pitbull collaborated with the Cuban duo, and Miami's Cuban exile community erupted. Gente de Zona had previously expressed express support for the Cuban government, something many in Miami's Cuban community viewed as a betrayal. Pitbull issued an apology, but the damage to his reputation in certain circles lingered. Through it all, Pitbull kept moving, kept creating, kept building. He performed We Are One, Ole Ola with Jennifer Lopez and Claudia Leitte as the official theme of the 2014 FIFA World Cup.
Whole world, one night, one place, Brazil.
He released Globalization in 2014, Climate Change in 2017, and Libertad 548 in 2019. The title referenced the 548 people his father brought over during the Mariel boat lift, a full-circle tribute to his family's history. In 2013, Pitbull opened SLAM, Sports Leadership and Management, a tuition-free public charter school in Miami's Little Havana. The school focuses on sports, leadership, arts, and management, giving kids from underserved communities the opportunities Pitbull never had. Since then, he's expanded the SLAM network to 11 schools across the country, serving over 10,000 students. He's received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's been inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame as a global ambassador. He's toured with Tony Robbins, speaking at motivational events about entrepreneurship, resilience, and the immigrant experience. He's purchased equity stakes in Voli Vodka and various other business ventures. He's become exactly what his mother told him to be all those years ago watching Scarface. Not Tony Montana, Sosa, the man behind the empire, moving pieces, building wealth, staying sharp. Currently, Pitbull continues to tour globally, selling out arenas from Las Vegas to Sao Paulo. His Las Vegas residency has become one of the most successful ongoing concert series in the city. He's working on new music, expanding his business portfolio, and continuing to grow the Slam School network. He's involved in tech incubators through Emerge Americas, helping Latin American startups gain traction in markets that previously ignored them. His net worth, as of 2024, is estimated at $100 million. Not bad for a kid who almost died in the streets at 17. Pitbull has never married, though he has 2 children. He keeps his personal life intensely private, rarely discussing his relationships or family in interviews. When asked about marriage, he's deflected, saying he's married to the music and focused on building his legacy. The 6 songs that defined his career start with I Know You Want Me, Calle Ocho, the track that made him a global star, then Give Me Everything, his first #1 hit, Timber with Kesha, Time of Our Lives with Neo, Don't Stop the Party featuring TJR, and Feel This Moment with Christina Aguilera. Each track represents a different phase of his evolution, a different sound, a different collaboration that pushed him further into the mainstream. But the real story of Pitbull isn't in the chart numbers or the accolades. It's in the grind, the refusal to quit when everyone said he'd never make it, the ability to pivot, adapt, and survive in an industry that chews people up and spits them out. It's in the moment when he was 16, watching a woman bleed because of what he sold her, and deciding that wasn't how his story would end. It's in the 8-year-old kid in a Georgia foster home, losing his language, losing his family, but finding the resilience to keep going. It's in the teenager battling drag-on at a DMX video shoot, holding his own against Rough Riders when nobody thought he had a chance. It's in the artist who saw an entire genre, EDM, that hip-hop was ignoring and decided to dominate it before anyone else could. And it's in the man who took the name of a dog breed that's banned, stereotyped, and feared and turned it into a symbol of survival, strength, and refusal to lose. Because Pitbulls bite to lock, they never give up, and they're too stupid to understand what losing even means.